Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter video. It is officially 2025, and we are officially 2 months out from the release of Monster Hunter Wilds, or potentially 1 month depending on when I actually get this video finished and posted. And I am not in a necessarily unique position, but definitely a fun one when it comes to Wilds release. And that is that I have been mostly spoiler-free for the past 4 months since the release date trailer. Yes, the last new information I have seen on Wilds, aside from the beta, which was just the Gamescom demo, so I was 100% fine to play that, is the trailer that you are seeing in the background of this voiceover. I realized that I'd seen enough, knew that I was hyped, and decided to go in with as many surprises remaining as possible. But do you think that stopped me from hypothesizing? No. I have been thinking non-stop about Wilds since I started this journey, and now, with the end in sight, I wanted to put out my wish list for both mechanics and monsters that I would like to see return for Monster Hunter Wilds. To add a little bit of a challenge into the mix, I am limiting myself to 5 items for this wish list, 1 thing from each generation of Monster Hunter. And I'm going to be going through this in generational order, not necessarily the order that I think is most likely, or in the order that I want to see the most. Because to be honest, I would love to see all of these again, and some of them I think are pretty big pipe dreams and wishful thinking at best. And finally, to make it perfectly clear before we dive in, I do not want to know if I am right. Please feel free to talk about the predictions in the comments if you agree, disagree, whatever, but please don't confirm anything if it's going to be revealed or if it's already been revealed. I still want to go into Wilds mostly sight unseen, but I'm still happy to talk about the predictions themselves, or if you have any predictions that you want to see. With all that out of the way, let's dive into the wishlist with Generation 1. From the first generation of Monster Hunter, Lao Shenlong. Starting off with the original siege fight from Monster Hunter 1, and a monster who's been in need of a revamp and a rework since Monster Hunter 1. We have Lao Shenlong. This lumbering dragon was an amazing spectacle on the PS2, and the idea behind it could make for an incredibly fun hunt. Lao Shenlong is fleeing from something, and its path of retreat is sending it directly towards a human settlement. Unlike a lot of the final boss elder dragons in the series, you aren't tasked with hunting Lao Shenlong because it's causing a cataclysmic change in the local ecosystem, but because if you don't, it will trample through a city, possibly costing thousands of lives. You spend most of the hunt chasing Lao down as it trundles forward unimpeded, peppering it with cannon and ballista fire, stabbing its toes trying to persuade it to turn around, and of course taking obscene amounts of damage when it takes a single step forward. It's a very cool idea for a hunt that is held back by early Monster Hunter mechanics. With modern Monster Hunter speed and an emphasis on verticality, Lao Shenlong in Wilds could easily be a fun and engaging fight. It would most likely need its own separate instanced area to take it on, since even as far as Wilds has come with its large locales, and as big as those locales seem to be, Lao wouldn't really be able to get very far without needing to turn around immediately, and would just kind of be going in circles. I'm kind of imagining something like the Caverns of El Dorado from Kulve Taroth's siege fight in World. Big enough for it to move around and not break the immersion of the fight's theme, but not too big to be overwhelming for a player. On to Gen 2. This may be a bit of a pull for my Gen 2 wishlist item, but I am counting Frontier as a second-generation game since the original release was based on Monster Hunter DOS. And also, I'm able to record footage of Frontier and not DOS. Got a problem with it?
You know what I'm gonna say? Get in the fucking comments. 'Cause I think I'm right.
From Frontier, I would love to see the armor and decoration system return. As an MMO, Frontier naturally needed a glut of systems to keep players logging in day after day, and one of these mechanics had to do with the upgrading of armor. In Frontier, armor goes through 3 different tiers of upgrades, improving not only the defense value of the armor, but also the base number of skill points that the armor gives, and the number of decoration slots on the armor. That alone makes it something that I would love to see again, with hopefully much more mainline-friendly material requirements, But to top it all off, in G rank, when you fully upgrade a piece of armor through all 3 of the tiers, you can then transform that piece of armor into a decoration jewel, usually with a large number of skill points from the skills on that armor. It is a great way to encourage hunters to fight monsters they may not normally hunt, or craft armor they may avoid so that they can add specific skills to their armor sets. I think it's something that would not be available at all tiers of play through, low rank, high rank, and master rank, but could fill kind of the same endgame niche as Curios crafting in Monster Hunter Rise, which I have mixed feelings about and will not be appearing on this list. Spoilers. Now, back to Gen 3 and another monster. If I had the power to choose any one monster that I could personally guarantee would make it into Wild's roster, whether it be in the base game or in the inevitable Master Rank expansion, I wouldn't even need to think for more than 5 seconds before saying Duramboros. My all-time favorite monster is Lagiacrus, but Laggy has enough vocal support from the community, and I want to platform my strong, unchanging second place. I mean, in all my years of Monster Hunter, it's always been Lagiacrus and Duramboros holding the line against all the other cool monsters that get thrown at me throughout the years, with only Pobarubarumu from Frontier recently coming close to deposing my wonderful Camel Ram Mountain Man. I could make a whole 10-minute video just talking in detail about how much I love Duramboros, but to spare you all that rambling, I will boil it down into 3 simple points. 1. His design is incredibly fun and naturalistic, and it would be a great fit for the habitats that at least I have seen for Wilds. 2. The fight can be incredibly challenging, especially for a hunter going up against it for the first time, and it would be a really good early to mid-game wall. And 3. He spin. Gen 4. We arrive at my personal favorite generation, and from my favorite game in the series, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, we have the Wyporium monster material trading. This is a well-loved and often requested mechanic to make its way back to mainline Monster Hunter, and we know that Capcom keeps its eye on the community's wants, so I personally think that this is, on my list, the most likely to happen someday, whether it be in Wilds or a future game. For those who don't know, the Wyporium is Monster Hunter 4's version of the farm, and in addition to item duplication and creation, it also offers the ability to trade monster materials. Simply take the materials from a monster that you aren't using and trade them for materials from a monster that didn't make it into the game. You could then make the armor and weapons of those monsters, even though you don't get to actually fight them. Now, I wouldn't expect Capcom to add materials from every single monster in the series. That would be absurd, but with how many great monsters are trapped in previous generations, or in a few cases literally underwater, material trading would be a great way to include fan-favorite monsters who, due to a number of internal reasons, wouldn't be able to make it into the roster proper. Similarly to what I said about the armor and decoration system, it is a great way to encourage variety in hunting. Even if you aren't planning on making armor from a Wilds monster, you can still hunt it in order to get the materials to trade for that Zamtrios armor you've been eyeing, to ease the sting that he hasn't been seen since Generations Ultimate, even though his children were in Rise. Still a little salty about that, Capcom. And finally, we come to the 5th generation wishlist item. There's a lot of great from the 5th generation of Monster Hunter. I personally love the scout flies and tracking system from World, switch skills from Rise, and despite their polarizing nature, I actually enjoy the anomaly quest system from Sunbreak. To a point. I did a whole video back in the day about my thoughts and feelings and gripes with that system. Feel free to check it out if you want. But even with all those great mechanics, the thing that I want to see the most from Gen 5 is the siege hunts from Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, specifically the likes of Kulvtaroth and Safi'jiiva. These fights saw separate groups of up to 4 hunters taking down the same monster, whittling away at a communal health bar, and working together as a full gathering hub to accumulate points based on breaking parts, securing the kill of the monster, or otherwise progressing the hunt. Then, once the hub took down the monster, the rewards were distributed to every hunter who participated based on their contribution to the quest itself, as well as how many milestones the hub collectively passed. It's really easy to write this system off as too MMO, and I can definitely see that angle, but it's hard to deny the sense of community that these quests facilitated, with a lot of people still hosting Safi'jiiva-specific gathering hubs to this day whenever it rolls around again. I remember playing Monster Hunter World and it always being a event, like servers were packed when Kuul of Taroth rolled around, and it was always a event when Safi'jiiva showed up, and there were just rooms and rooms of people looking for help clearing it and farming up weapons and gear. They fostered a really big sense of community, and it's something that was really cool to see with how suddenly big Monster Hunter had become. And with Wilds looking to be even bigger than Monster Hunter World was, it would make sense for them to bring back this big community event. Especially with Wild's massive 100-person hubs, you can imagine how much more, pardon the pun, wild they could get with these siege quests. It would be great to see these come back, ideally with some inspiration from Raviente Siege and Monster Hunter Frontier, but that's maybe a video for another day. For now, I just think they would be a great addition to Wilds with how many people Capcom is looking to bring into the series. And that's it. That's my wish list for Monster Hunter Wilds. I would love nothing more than to see each of these mechanics and monsters make an appearance when I boot up Wilds for the first time in February, and while again, I don't want to know if anything I've talked about has already been revealed, I do want to know what y'all think. Please feel free to post your thoughts in the comments. I do my best to try and respond to every comment when I can, so please let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever. I'm currently doing a video series as well, where I talk about and hunt a different monster each day until Monster Hunter Wilds releases, so if you like what you saw and want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't, and until next time, I'll see you next time.